We bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Good evening and welcome. This is Atn Global News at 9. First, the headlines. Senate committee says P8 refinery will begin operation December. Okwama residents in Delta files 200 billion naira suit against Army. Group nominates Akpabio into Committee of Speakers of Parliament. IMF says Nigeria's economy drop as largest in Africa. ECOWAS plans measures to tackle humanitarian crisis. Ekong plans to play for Super Eagles 2026 FIFA. Tunde Onakoya sets 58-hour new chess marathon record. And now, the rest of our stories. Senate Ad Hoc Committee investigating the turnaround maintenance of Nigeria's refineries says the Port Harcourt refinery will begin operation before the end of December. Chairman Senator Ifeanyi Uba disclosed this when members of the Senate Ad Hoc Committee to investigate the turnaround maintenance of Nigeria's refineries paid Governor Fubara a courtesy visit at the government house in Port Harcourt. On his part, the Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara said his administration is working in tandem with President Bola Tinubu-led federal government policies designed to make life better for Nigerians through the Renewed Hope agenda. Fubara also said the Woji-Aleto-Alesa refinery road, now 70% completed, was being constructed to provide a bypass to easily access the Port Harcourt refinery and take off traffic from the east-west road. Niger Delta Development Commission is calling for the completion of the 25.7-kilometer Ogbianimbe Road in Bayelsa State. According to a statement by the NDDC Director of Corporate Affairs, Pius Ugakboteni, the road features 7 bridges, 53 culverts, and spurs connecting 14 communities and marks a significant milestone in the Commission's efforts to enhance infrastructure development in the Niger Delta region, which is in collaboration with Shell Petroleum Development Company. Executive Director of Projects at NDDC, Sir Victor Antai, expressed satisfaction with the project's execution and highlighted the Commission's commitment to delivering high-quality infrastructure projects that will positively impact the lives of Niger Delta residents. He said the importance of partnerships between development agencies, companies, and state governments. Antai described the Ogbianimbe Road as a testament to the transformative potential of collaborative efforts in the region. Also, the NDDC Director of Environmental Protection and Control, Onoha Obeka, residents of Okwama, Ewu, Ugeli, South Government Area, Delta State, have filed a 200 billion naira suit against the Nigerian Army at the Federal High Court, Warri, for condoning of their community, destroying their homes, dehumanizing and accusing them of using 17 military personnel without police investigations. The 17 residents of the Okwama Ewu community, whose lingering land dispute with the Okoloba community Bomadi local government area escalated, leading to the intrusion of soldiers into the community on March 14, are demanding 200 billion naira for general and exemplary damages from the Nigerian army, which is the respondent. The applicants, mainly farmers, traders and businessmen who applied for the enforcement of their fundamental human right to a fair hearing, the dignity of the human person, private and family life, freedom of movement, choice of residency, private and family life, and the right to own property are Victor Akemo, Madam Omotiwuri Olareho, Victor Udi, Okrika Emmanuel, Austin Eferemwa, and Evelyn Ejekola. The resident also alleged that the declaration of the applicant and the resident of the Okwama community and unconstitutional. They equally requested for an order of the court compelling the respondent to stop her troops of the cordon of the Okwama community to allow the applicants and residents of the Okwama community to have access to move freely in and out of the community and have the right of choice to reside there as Nigerian citizens. Ooni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi, has advised Nigerians against divisive tendencies that may jeopardize the unity of purpose of the country as laid down by the founding fathers. He called on Nigerians to see diversity in culture as a strength to foster togetherness and peace in the country. He disclosed this at the grand finale of the annual Amasekumo Festival of the Gbaramatu people of Warri South local government area of Delta State. A warm hospitality and prayed that the kingdom and its sons, whom he described as very good, continue to prosper so they can contribute more to its development. Other dignitaries at the festival include the Minister of State for Petroleum, Dr. Heineken Lukbobri, Government Ekpe Mupolo, some members of the Senate and House of Representatives, as well as Presidential Advisor on Niger Delta Amnesty, Dr. Dennis Otuaro. Nigerian Navy ship Delta has warned criminals to steer clear of its areas of operation or get prepared for the consequences. It also cautioned its personnel to stay out of trouble and be mindful of how they use social media. The NNS Delta commander, Commodore Abba Musin, who disclosed this while leading officers and ratings shortly after the quarterly route march by the personnel of the command in Warri, said the exercise began at the Warri Naval Base en route Okere Road through Airport Road, connected to the NPA Expressway, and terminated at the Navy Base. Musin said the exercise represents the Navy's readiness, physical fitness, and the true military spirit of its personnel, and thanked the people of Delta, particularly the residents in Warri. Men of the Abia State Police Command have arrested a police corporal died as Emmanuel Okocha dead. This came following the Okocha by a trigger-happy policeman in Aba. The police alleged that officers from the Rapid Response Squad of the Nigeria Police Force on Friday shot the businessman dead along MCC Abayi Aba for allegedly refusing to bribe them despite having complete vehicle documents. A statement by the State Police Public Relations Officer, ASP Maureen Chinaka, said Unjok was attached to the Abayi Police Division before the incident. Describing the incident as unfortunate, Chinaka commiserated with the deceased family, friends, and well-wishers, and also assured residents of the command's commitment to prioritize professionalism and the rule of law. Lagos State government has stopped illegal estate development around the Ekpe corridor of the state. The Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, Oluyinka Olumide, who disclosed this in a statement in Lagos, said he led a special joint exercise based on the directive of the State Executive Council to stop illegal estate development in Alaro City, Okorishon, Igbodu, Molajoye, Shala, Ketu, and Dekbe. Olumide said notices were also served on estate developments such as Patriot Bay Estate, Smart City Estate, The Legend and Hilton Royal Garden, as well as Greenland Estates, Legacy City, Isimni Lagos, Dominion City, Topview Estate, and EB Alafia, among others. He said urged estate developers are requested to visit relevant authorities to perfect their documents, and under no circumstances should any developer go ahead to start the development of estate without obtaining layout approval, planning permit, and fencing permit as may be required. Olumide also said layout approval was required for proper arrangement of the estate to give room for appropriate services and infrastructure, while the planning permit addressed the planning requirements on individual plots in the estate and urged property uptakers and buyers to be wary of investing in estate without approval to avoid needless embarrassment from government officials. In view of a public complaint received from concerned residents, the Lagos State Wastewater Management Office has sealed off the administrative and catering complex of the Redeemed Christian Church of God Jesus Sanctuary, Masha Surulere, Lagos, for indiscriminate discharge of wastewater into the environment. The State Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Tokumbo Wahab, who disclosed this through his X-handle, said illegal discharge of wastewater into the environment endangers the lives of citizens and leads to soil pollution and groundwater contamination, causing waterborne diseases such as cholera, dysentery, and diarrhea. The Lagos State Wastewater Management Office advised all residents of Lagos State to desist from such acts and report all illegal activities leading to the pollution of the environment. Violence broke out at Ward 1 at Stella Maris College, Okitipupa, between rival supporters of two aspirants of the All Progressives Congress who are contesting to be the party's candidate for the November 16 Ondo State governorship election. Accredited party members who had gathered in large numbers to participate in the candidate selection process fled the scene when violence erupted among the rival factions. The security agents at the ward were unable to contain the violence and everyone fled the scene. Governorship aspirants of the All Progressives Congress in Ondo State have passed a vote of no confidence on the primary election being superintended by Governor Usman Ododo of Kogi State. The APC primary election in the state, in the 203 wards in the state, is to elect the party's flag bearer for the November 16 governorship election. Speaking in Akure, the aspirant said Ododo did not follow the due process laid down by the national leadership of the party, which urged the governorship aspirant in Ondo State to pass a vote of no confidence on the primary election being superintended by Governor Usman Ododo of Kogi State. Benga Edema, one of the aspirants, frowned at the delay in the release of electoral materials meant for the primary, while Shola Ajisafe, who represented Wale Akin Terinwa, one of the aspirants, said there was no election held in the state. Also, Rotimi Ogulot had been spent to build the party, while Paul Ododo also said the problems of insecurity and perennial flooding could impact the federal capital Abuja and other neighboring states if left. Suspected drug kingpin Somaila Atta aka Sami in Kogi State. The drug baron was killed by security agencies in Alaka, Igalamela, Udolu local government area of the state. The transition chairman of the local government, Cosmas Ilemona Atabo, who confirmed this, said Atta was killed in the peaceful town of Ajaka within Igalamela, Udolu local government. The council boss, however, debunked the information making the rounds that he had allegedly provided a list of individuals for liquidation by security agencies and admonished the general public to join hands with his administration in eradicating drug-related crimes and other social ills in his community, Kogi State, and Nigeria at large. Items recovered from the deceased suspects include motorcycle, a locally made pistol, and Nakwadahi in Gusau, the state capital, said Zamfara state government has suspended Colonel Rabiu Garba as commandant of the State Community Protection Guards, and the suspension takes immediate effect. He said since their inauguration, the state government has not provided them with any take-off grant, adding that the officials of the Protection Guards were paid their salary only once since they were appointed 4 months ago. He also said members of the Community Protection Guards have been suffering from poor funding from the state government, which has been crippling their activities in the fight against banditry. Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps of the Katsina State Command has arrested 2 suspected notorious electricity cable vandals in the state. The command spokesman, Buhari Hamisu, who disclosed this while parading the suspect in Katsina, said, the success was recorded based on enhanced NSCDC and community engagement, while one of the suspects, Sani, belonged to a team of a notorious syndicate that specializes in vandalizing public infrastructure and theft. The NSCDC said during the investigation the suspect confessed to committing the crimes, adding that the suspect would be charged to a competent court for prosecution after the completion of investigations. The commandant called on the good people of the state to be law-abiding and obey rules and regulations, assuring them of the command's commitment to providing adequate security. He said the command will not relent in its commitment to uncover all the activities of vandals, economic saboteurs, and other criminals in the state. Nigeria Bar Association has described as justifiable the judgments rendered by the different courts in the petitions that arose from the 2023 general elections. Speaking in Yola, NBA President Yakubu Maikiau said the judges rendered justice in those decisions. Maikiau spoke in the Adamawa State capital, where he attended the Emergency National Executive Committee meeting of the NBA, urging government at all levels not to take decisions, no matter how good they may seem, without first checking the Constitution. He also said, as lawyers, NBA members should give guidance and protection to the people and government, while Adamawa State Governor Amadu Fintiri, who declared the NBA NEC meeting open, charged the bar to help sustain people's confidence in the judiciary. The governor, who was represented on the occasion by Deputy Governor Kaletapwa Farauta, urged them to be firm in reprimanding the few bad eggs in the NBA, while celebrating those with integrity, dexterity, courage, and patriotism. 6 persons have lost their lives in a clash between suspected bandits and vigilantes, locally known as Yantakai, in the Gada local government area of Sokoto State. Eyewitness said the vigilantes avenged the killing of their leader, Wan Alhaji Dahiru, by a suspected bandit, and when a leader of the Gidan Hashimu village, vigilantes made a move to arrest and interrogate a notorious cattle rustler seen loitering in the market. The suspected bandits, at the height of the crisis, shot and killed the vigilante's leader, stabbed the vigilante leader, which led to his death. Confirming the incident, the spokesman for the State Police Command, ASP Hamed Rufai, said 6 persons lost their lives during the incident. Suspected gunmen have again attacked Tilengpat Pershit community in Mangu local government area of Plateau State and killed 12 persons. This is coming after the gunmen had last week killed no fewer than 10 persons in Mandongmushu and Kompnali villages in the Bokos and Mangu local government areas of the state, and also left several persons injured, with property including homes and villages set ablaze. The chairman of Mangu local government area, Marcus Ague, who confirmed the latest killings in just decried the target on women and children in their homes, while the spokesman for the Plateau State Police Command, Alabo Alfred, said the Commissioner of Police has addressed the people in the community personally over the killing of 11 persons in Mangu, while in Bokos, 3 persons were injured and 2 others killed. Meanwhile, women in Bokos local government area have taken to the streets in protest over the renewed violent attacks by gunmen in the communities, and the Plateau State University situated in Bokos local government area of the state has been shut down. Meanwhile, the state governor and visitor to the university, Caleb Mutfwang, has condemned the renewed attacks in the state, calling for enhancing the affected areas. Former military head of state Yakubu Gowon says Boko Haram has been a major threat to Nigeria's existence after during the launch of 2 books written by Nigeria's ambassador to Russia, Professor Abdullahi Shehu, stressing that Boko Haram has been a threat, perhaps the major threat to the peace and development of Nigeria after the civil war. Gowon also suggested that understanding the impact of Boko Haram would help in solving the problem. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar says no human can give power except God Almighty. Atiku's declaration came on the heels of the ongoing controversy trailing the outcome of the 98th National Executive Committee meeting of the People's Democratic Party held in Abuja. This is coming after the PDP National Publicity Secretary, Debo Olugunagba, among its intra-party resolutions, said the party had approved the reconstitution of its disciplinary and reconciliation committees to further ensure its stability. Among the key decisions made at the NEC meeting was the appointment of former Akwa Ibom State Governor Emmanuel Udom as the head of its disciplinary committee, while former Senate President Bukola Saraki remains the head of its reconciliation committee. Meanwhile, the Deputy National Chairman South of the party, Taufik Arakbaja, has addressed the growing calls for the suspension of former River State Governor and current Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and other members of the defunct G5 governors within the PDP over alleged anti-party activities. Nigerian political scientists have decried the incessant impeachment of deputy governors in the country in the last 24 years, stressing that the trend threatens the survival of the country's nascent democracy and party system. The president of the association, Professor Hassan Salisu, who disclosed this while speaking on greed for power and the porous political system of the country, had been part of the strong factors fueling the sacking of the deputy governors. The trend was cancerous to the country's democratic survival and party system. This is coming after a governorship aspirant of the People's Democratic Party in Edo State, Philip Shaibu, on Monday, April 8, became the 17th deputy governor that would be removed from office since the country returned to constitutional democracy in 1999. Having endured a long-drawn battle between him and the state governor, Godwin Obaseki. It is on record that despite Section 187, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution, which gives the deputy governors certain legal backings, many observers have said the supposed seconds in command have continued to suffer unjustifiable humiliations from their principals in virtually all the states of the Federation, even though some of them are rightly guilty of certain accusations leveled against them by the state assemblies. Although a former Secretary General of the African Association of Political Science, Professor Adele Jinadu, said there is a general problem of leadership recruitment and political succession at the executive branch of our government, especially at the state level, adding that there is not much information about the relationship between governors and their deputies to enable one to make an informed analysis and offer a reasonable explanation of the nature of their relationships and the frequency of the impeachment of deputy governors. Nigeria Correctional Services, with effect from April 15, 2024, a total of 3,504 inmates were on death row, comprising 73 females and 3,431 males. And since 2023, there has been no executions of inmates on death row across the custodial centers. NCO's spokesperson Abubakar Umar also said the former Minister of Interior Rauf Aregbesola had on July 24, 2021 urged state governors to sign death warrants of inmates as a means of decongesting correctional facilities nationwide, adding that it had 3,413 inmates on death row across their facilities in the country. According to him, rehabilitation and reformatory programs were extended to the inmates, including skill empowerment and academic opportunities. You are watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after the short break. Stay with us.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what they blood.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Welcome back. This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. Interparliamentary Union has named President of the Nigeria Senate, Godswill Akpabio, as a member of the Preparatory Committee for the 6th World Conference of Speakers of Parliament 2025. A statement by the Special Assistant on Media to the Senate President, Jackson Udom, said Akpabio's nomination was contained in a letter signed by the General Secretary of the IPU, Martin Chungong, and addressed to the Senate President. The statement also said the conferences are organized in close cooperation with the United Nations and aim to reinforce the parliamentary dimension in the work of the UN and to bridge the democracy gap in international relations. Added that by consultations with member parliaments and the geopolitical groups, the composition of the Preparatory Committee for the 2025 Speakers Conference was endorsed by the IPU governing bodies. The statement informed the nominees to note that at your first meeting in May, they will have an opportunity to engage with fellow speakers and discuss matters relating to the time and venue of the 2025 Speakers Conference, its main objective, general format, themes, and expected outcomes. International Monetary Fund says Nigeria's economy, which ranked as Africa's largest in 2022, is set to slip to fourth place this year after a series of currency devaluations. The IMF's World Economic Outlook has estimated the country's gross domestic product at $253 billion based on current prices this year, behind North African powerhouses Algeria at $267 billion, Egypt at $348 billion, and South Africa at $373 billion. The report said South Africa will remain the continent's largest economy until Egypt reclaims the mantle in 2027, while Nigeria is expected to remain in fourth place for years to come. Nigeria has been battling economic challenges since President Bola Tinubu gave significant policy reforms, including the end of the subsidy regime and the devaluation of the naira. Despite a recent rebound, while the currency is still 50% weaker against the greenback than it was before taking office after two currency devaluations. Egypt, one of the emerging world's most indebted countries and the IMF's second biggest borrower after Argentina, has also allowed its currency to float, triggering an almost 40% plunge in the pound's value against the dollar last month to attract investment. Vice President Kashim Shettima says the naira will continue to appreciate. Naira continues to appreciate. The Vice President disclosed this when a delegation of Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, led by its President Gabriel Idahosa, paid him a courtesy visit in his office at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. A statement by his media aide, Stanley Nkwocha, quoted the Vice President that Tinubu had to end fuel subsidy and ensure the unification of the multiple exchange rate, because the former arrangement was producing billionaires overnight. The Vice President also said the quality of leadership provided by Tinubu as Governor of Lagos laid the foundation for massive development witnessed in the state. Comptroller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Adewale Adeniyi, has vowed support for locally made vehicles initiative towards enhancing economic growth in Nigeria. Adewale, who disclosed this after taking a test drive to one of the factories for Made in Nigeria vehicles, said, Nigeria cannot continue to only depend on things that we import, particularly automobiles. He also stressed the plan to supply the Nigerian customs with premium quality products. Nigeria and the government of the Republic of Cameroon have signed a cooperation framework on trans-boundary ecosystems conservation and sustainable management of forestry and wildlife resources. The Minister of Environment, Balarabe Lawal, signed the agreement alongside the Ministry of Forestry and Wildlife, Cameroon, Jules Ndongo in Abuja. The implementation of the agreement aims at supervising and coordinating identified areas of cooperation and ensure special protocols are consistent with identified areas of cooperation, including the collaboration of the implementation of common trans-boundary programs, as well as develop the institutional and mobilization of funds for the implementation of common trans-boundary programs. He also said the 2023 Wildlife Chapter of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes Organized Crime Threat Assessments for Nigeria found that Nigeria is a key transit hub and consolidation point for various forms of illegal trade in wildlife and forestry products, especially for pangolin, ivory, and rosewood. The UNODC said the products were sourced both from Nigeria as well as from other countries in the region, including Cameroon, Gabon, the Central African Republic, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire, and the Benin Republic. Senate says it will meet with the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, and other stakeholders over the recent hike in electricity tariff across the country on May 2. This is coming after the National Assembly had again postponed the resumption of plenary to April 30 to allow the full renovation of both main chambers, while the federal government, through the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, recently approved a 300% tariff increment for band consumers, allowing power distribution companies to raise electricity prices for city dwellers from 68 naira to 225 naira per kilowatt hour with effect from April 1, 2024. According to the NERC's Vice Chairman, Musliu Oseni, Band A customers will begin to pay 225 naira kilowatts per hour from the current 66 naira. In the wake of the tariff hike, the Senate, through its spokesperson Yemi Adaramodu, promised not to abandon Nigerians, stressing that the Senate would not show indifference to any policy that would add to the economic burden of Nigerians. Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission says multiple taxes was responsible for the rising increase in the cost of goods. The Director of Surveillance and Investigation, Mrs. B.A. Adeyinka, who disclosed this during a market surveillance to enforce prices in Masaka markets, Nasarawa State. Despite government efforts to stabilize the currency, prices remain high. The acting chief executive officer, Adamu Abdullahi, also said the commission would continue the price enforcement in other states. On his part, the executive chairman of the market, Gimbal Salassi, said the market executives were working to ensure hitch-free market operations and price regulations in the market. Federal government says it is planning to stop Ways and Means advances to address the issue of exurgement until all outstanding debts are repaid. Eden said the fiscal and monetary authorities are also working towards bringing down inflation and pressure on price stability to the exchange rate, collaboration with the African Development Bank to increase food production in the country. You are still watching the news on Atlantic Television Network. Up next, the international tidbits. Economic Community of West African States says it will ensure significant funding allocations aimed at aiding internally displaced people, refugees, asylum seekers, and communities affected by conflicts across the region. Nigeria and ECOWAS and the UN Refugee Agency in 2023 signed an agreement to strengthen their collaboration in protecting refugees, stateless and internally displaced persons in the region. According to the ECOWAS Commissioner of Human Development and Social Affairs, Professor Fatal Star, in Abuja, with a commitment of $9 million in 2024, ECOWAS will provide much-needed assistance to those displaced by a collective effort to address the complex challenges of displacement and its impact on vulnerable populations, adding that Nigeria has been earmarked to receive $1 million specifically for stabilization efforts targeting victims of terrorism, displaced individuals, and injured persons, as well as initiatives aimed at rehabilitating affected communities and enhancing their resilience in the face of ongoing threats. On Iran. Explosion in Iraqi military base housing a coalition of pro-Iranian armed groups has killed 1 person and 8 wounded. The explosion hit the Kalsum military base in Babylon province south of Baghdad, where Iraq's population mobilization forces of Hashed al-Shabi is stationed. It comes days after Iran launched an unprecedented assault on Israel, which reportedly responded with a drone strike on the Islamic Republic amid tensions fueled by the Gaza war. The Iraqi Security Forces media unit said an explosion and a fire hit the hit the Kasu base in the early hours of Saturday, leaving 1 person dead and 8 wounded. Air Defense Command said in a statement that there were no drones or combat aircraft in the airspace of Babylon province before or during the explosion, while in a statement, Hashed al-Shabi said an explosion had inflicted material losses and casualties without giving a number. Top United Nations officials have warned that 800,000 people in a Sudanese city are in extreme and immediate danger as worsening violence advances and threatens to unleash bloody intercommunal strife throughout Darfur. This is coming after war broke out in Sudan 1 year ago between the Sudanese army and paramilitary Rapid Support Forces RSF, creating the world's largest displacement crisis. UN Political Affairs Chief Rosemary DiCarlo told the 15-member Security Council that clashes between RSF and SAF-aligned members of the Joint Protection Forces were nearing the capital of North Darfur, El Fasher. The UN said nearly 25 million people, half of Sudan's population, need aid, and some 8 million have fled their homes, while a United Nations-backed Global Authority on Food Security said late last month that immediate action is needed to prevent widespread death and total collapse of livelihoods and avert a catastrophic hunger crisis in Sudan. The donors have pledged more than $2 billion for war-torn Sudan at a conference in Paris on Monday. Man who set himself on fire outside the Manhattan court is dead, where former President Donald Trump's hush money trial is being held. Maxwell Azzarello, who doused himself in a liquid before throwing conspiracy theory pamphlets into the air, said the jury selection for Mr. Trump's trial was completed and was taken to a hospital in critical condition, where the man later died. Trump was in the building to attend jury selection, where he has had a security detail, but the former president left during the incident. New York City police said Azzarello was declared dead, as stated by hospital staff. Despite months of delay, the U.S. House of Representatives says it is determined to hold a vote on tens of billions of dollars in American military aid for Ukraine and Israel this weekend. Both measures have vocal opponents in Congress, however, and their hopes of passage have hinged on a fragile bipartisan coalition to overcome daunting procedural and legislative obstacles. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson said he is determined to bring the matter to a vote, even if it may put his hold on power in jeopardy. The Ukraine vote will be closely watched in Kiev, which has warned of an urgent need for fresh support from its allies as Russia makes steady gains on the battlefield. The House is set to vote on final passage on Saturday, and the Senate may approve the package, while President Joe Biden has pledged to sign it into law. Super Eagles defender William Troost-Ekong says he has the ambition of playing at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The three-time African champions failed to qualify for the last edition of the Mondial hosted by Qatar and have also failed to record a win in their opening 2 games in the qualifiers for the 2026 World Cup. Troost-Ekong also said he is looking forward to playing for Nigeria at the next World Cup despite the Super Eagles' poor start. According to him, the Super Eagles will face South Africa and Benin in their next 2 games in the qualifiers. Former France midfielder Zinedine Zidane has decided a move to Manchester United over Bayern Munich. Makar said Zidane is hiding his time over making a decision and has emerged as the front-runner to replace Thomas Tuchel at Bayern. Zidane has not managed any team since leaving Madrid in 2021, but he is a man in demand during this time at the Bernabeu. The Frenchman won 3 consecutive Champions League titles during his first stint, and there were doubts in the past about managing teams outside of France, Spain or Italy, or he does not speak English or Japan. Former Manchester player Lee Sharps has listed former Paris Saint-Germain manager Unai Emery to replace Eric Ten Hag at Old Trafford. Ten Hag's long-term future at Man United is unclear because of the Red Devils' performances this season. Man United currently sit outside of the Premier League top 4 behind the likes of Newcastle United, Tottenham Hotspur, Aston Villa, Liverpool, Arsenal and Manchester City. Arsenal legend Paul Merson says the team has to win 3 matches on their run-in to stand a chance of winning the Premier League title. The Gunners go into Saturday's fixture against Wolves 2 points behind leaders Manchester City, while Mikel Arteta's men failed to go top last weekend after they suffered a 2-0 defeat at home to Aston Villa. But Merson said all hope is not lost for his former club, and there is a small glimmer of hope for Arsenal. On entertainment, Nigerian chess master Tunde Onakoya has set a new Guinness World Record for the longest marathon chess. The chess master confirmed this in a post on his X account and broke the record of Norwegian players Halvard Haug Flatebo and Sture Fegenstad, who played for 56 hours, 9 minutes in 2018 and aimed at reaching 58 hours target, while another challenge which is underway at New York City's iconic Times Square has currently exceeded 56 hours and a few minutes, and already set him adrift the previous record holders. The new record holder said his attempt was to raise funds and awareness for providing educational opportunities to underprivileged children across Africa. In a statement by his foundation, Chess in Slums Africa, Onakoya said he will be joined by his U.S. counterpart, Sean Martinez. Meanwhile, Nigerians, including Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, singer Davido, and Adekunle Gold, have all shown support for Onakoya to break the new record. President Bola Tinubu says he is happy with chess maestro Tunde Onakoya setting a new world chess record. Tinubu thanked Onakoya for sounding the gong of Nigeria's resilience, self-belief and ingenuity at the square of global acclaim. A statement signed by the president's spokesperson, Ajuri Ngelale, said President Tinubu congratulates Tunde Onakoya on new world chess record. The president celebrated the Nigerian chess champion and founder of Chess in Slums Africa for the rare feat, but especially for the reason driving this compelling demonstration of character, which is raising funds for African children to learn and find opportunity through chess. Tinubu said, Onakoya has shown a strict customary among Nigeria's youth population, the audacity to make good change happen, to baffle impossibility, and propel innovations and solutions to the nation's challenges, even from corners of disadvantage. Many musicians are happy with the recent move by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to enforce the ban on abuse of the naira. This is coming after last Friday, a controversial cross-dresser Idris Okuneye, aka Bob Risky, was sentenced to 6 months imprisonment without the option of fine for abusing the naira. And on Wednesday, a socialite Pascal Okechukwu, aka Cubana Chief Priest, a 10 million naira bail after he pleaded not guilty to a charge of abusing the naira. Though many believe that the ban on spraying money at parties will affect musicians, especially indigenous ones, some of them have said it is a good development. Wasiu Alabi, aka Pasuma Sahid Osupa, and Adewale Ayuba said the country's currency had to be respected, while on his part, Pasuma said there is a difference between spraying a musician money and mutilating naira notes. Osupa also said the new development had not affected his business. Nigerian singer Ruger says his Grammy-winning colleague Burna Boy introduced the live band into Afrobeats performance. According to him, before Burna Boy started using live band, most Afrobeats artists perform with DJ sets on stage. He also said Burna Boy made live performance enjoyable. Nigerian hip-hop star Vico has retired from the music industry. The rapper said he is quitting music because Nigerians don't deserve him. In a video message shared via his Instagram page recently, Vico lamented the lack of support from fans and low patronage from show organizers. He also said he deserves better than what he gets from Nigerians. And that's the global news for tonight. But before we go, another look at the major stories. Senate committee says P8 refinery will begin operation December. Okwama residents in Delta files 200 billion naira suit against army. Group nominates Akpabio into Committee of Speakers of Parliament.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People in the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable